Goodbye, tearing my chest. I was standing still for just a few moments at sunset.
Hitchcock is a 2018 song by the rock duo Yorushika, and it's one of the most touching and heart-wrenching things that I've ever heard. The song captures every single uncertainty and anxiety of growing up, and gives an empathetic portrayal of a teenager who's trying to cope with the idea of becoming an adult, and of being tossed into an adult world, which seems so cold and horrible to him. And in this video, I'd like to talk a bit about why I like the song so much, and why it means so much to me.
Is it selfish to just want to look at the blue sky?
The song starts with a boy talking to his teacher about what his purpose might be. He tells his teacher of how much he wants to return to the simple days of his childhood, how he wants to, once again, experience things like the gentle knuckles of rain knocking on his window pane, or of the sun melting into the horizon at the end of a summer day. He wants a place without worry, where he could just enjoy being himself and living his life, because he can't see any beauty in the world that he's entering. To him, the adult world seems like a cold and uncomfortable place, in which people have convinced themselves that money will automatically translate into happiness. The boy expresses his disgust at how it feels like every aspect of the world has been manipulated so that it can be sold back to him, and that even the joy of holding a flower in your hand has a price now. He needs someone to give him the meaning that he can believe in, and he doesn't know where to look, because all of the adults in his life have left their dreams behind, just to survive being adults. He doesn't want to be like that, just drifting aimlessly through life, and he hates that there's so little room for him to carve out a calm world for himself. However, as the song progresses, he comes to the realization that there's still nature waiting for him, that the world he loves still exists, and even if it isn't much, he can still create a place where he is comfortable. By the end of the song, the boy decides that even if he can't hold off the adult world forever, he can still make today and tomorrow and however long he can to just bask in the beauty of summer, even if that summer is dying away. He decides, for now, to just live how he wants, and he asks his teacher to join him so that they can gaze at the sky and clutch at the clouds that are passing by, so that they can leave behind all the stress of the world and just take some time to return to that peaceful life.
I just want to close my eyes in the scent of summer. Is it selfish that I just want to know you?
Hitchcock focuses a lot on the tranquility of nature. The world's natural beauty carries with it an innocence that is lost in humanity. And I think that it's used to express the boy's desire for a calm world to just chill in for a while. I think that the art style of the video really reflects this. The style of the characters is hand-drawn. It almost looks like the kind of characters that a child would draw. All the while, this is set against a gorgeous backdrop of skies and woodlands. And yet the characters contrast this environment with their melancholy expressions. This, I think, shows how the boy feels like he's growing to become a stranger to such a pretty place, that he, a soon-to-be adult, won't be able to enjoy these scenes anymore. His summer is quickly fading from his view. The video is wonderfully made, and the bittersweet beauty of it all coincides with the lyrics to drive in how emotionally impactful it all really is. Yorushika usually writes for a teenage and young adult demographic, but with Hitchcock especially, they strike right at the anxiety and alienation of adolescence. It feels like you spend your whole childhood trying to grow up, so that you can emulate the adults around you. And then, once you're old enough to realize how flawed and fallible everything really is, well, you're a teenager now. And now, you can't get your childhood back. You can only try to hold on to it, as the memories of the only peaceful period in your life fade from your mind. And all that you're left with is the awareness of what this world is actually like. The song, through its beautiful lyrics and rhyme, perfectly captures that confusion that you grapple with as you realize how awful reality can be, and how it seems to suck the joy out of everything you once loved. Everything becomes cluttered by obligations, responsibilities, and stresses. These are necessary burdens to take on if you want to be an adult, but to a teenager, it all seems so vast, disorienting, purposeless, and sometimes you just want to go back to simplicity, where everything had a clear answer, and nothing was uncertain, where you didn't need a clear purpose. You were just happy. Unlike now, when you're just floating through life, both purposeless and unhappy. And in the face of all of this, the boy asks for one thing.
I was hoping in some way for Hitchcock-like suspense.
The song is named for the famous British director Alfred Hitchcock. Hitchcock was a master of creating suspense in his movies before something horrible occurred. He knew exactly how to draw out a scene in the film so as to keep the audience on the edge of their seats before delivering a payoff. The most famous example of this is the shower scene in Psycho, which slowly raises the music as the tension builds before the curtain is finally ripped open and the character, Marion, is killed. This doesn't sound like it has anything to do with Hitchcock's song, but I think that the fact that the boy specifically references Hitchcock-like suspense implies a connection. I feel the boy here is wishing to draw out those periods of peace in between the horrible doses of reality, even if it is looming just out of view. And I think that each time, the boy wanted to be like Marion is in the shower, entirely oblivious to everything that's waiting for him. He wants to be able to enjoy himself, forget the world, and live in peace for as long as he can before returning to that world. Not ignoring reality, but taking a break from it every now and again. And Hitchcock himself explained what I think the song is trying to say when he was asked for his definition of happiness, and he replied,
"A clear horizon, nothing to worry about on your plate, only things that are creative."
And I think that sums up the ideas of the song really well. That wish to get away from all the stress of life is at the core of Hitchcock. The boy can be happy with a clear horizon in his head and in the sky, and he hopes his mind can be as uncluttered from worry as it possibly can be. He doesn't need Nietzsche's exercises in existentialism, nor Freud's complex and odious Oedipus complexes. He can just be happy. There's no point in trying to hide an escapism. Doing so forever and trying to pretend reality isn't there will only hurt you. However, a nice break can reinvigorate you to better handle everything that the world can throw at you. And at the end, the boy goes out into the sunset with his friend, his teacher, and they just exist for a while. Even though the teacher is older, he can still experience the tranquility of the world. And even if that teacher had to leave behind his dreams just because they weren't feasible in the adult world at the time, at least he has a place that he can go to just forget about all that for a bit. With a clear mind, everything becomes just a bit more manageable when he has to return.
I just want to close my eyes in the scent of summer and sketch out the heights of the clouds with my fingers.
Hitchcock means a lot to me. I hear it, and I hear my own fears being given a voice. I hear a song that so thoroughly understands all of these confusing feelings and puts them into simple, comforting words for me. In some ways, that boy is me. He's a lot of people. A lot of scared kids who don't know what their place in life is. And even though he can't give us a personal answer, he can remind us that the beautiful innocence of the world, it isn't gone. It's just that we're distracted from it now. But those blue skies are there for us whenever we need an afternoon to just stare up at them and forget everything going wrong for a while.